Hello guys, Fighter, one of the best and easiest classes in game, player friendly class. Um, it's a very solid choice for multi-classing too. They're well rounded with offensive and defensive skills. So let's make a fighter. Let's say you want to have a fighter as your starting character. Yeah, good options for a fighter are Moa, Dwarf, Human, and that's about it. Those three. Let's say we pick standard human fighter. Middle folk, ocean folk, savannah folk. To be honest, it doesn't matter. Pick whatever you like the most. Just say single class. We'll talk about multi-class too, but for the start, single class fighter. They come with survival, intimidate, streetwise, athletics, and explosives. Their main resource is discipline. When you want to cast spells, you spend discipline. Next, we got no subclass, black jacket, devoted, and unbroken. No subclass is definitely best for beginners. Why? No penalties. Simple as that. We go to black jacket now. Black jacket is a class that can use multiple weapons, or better to say, multi-weapons user. That kind of fighter. Best combination for a black jacket, if you want to go with multi-class, is with Cypher, Monk, Paladin, or Druid. I wouldn't recommend to go with Black Jacket at all. Devoted, that's what I would recommend. This is, as the name says, a fighter that's associated to one weapon. What it means, that weapon will give him around 25% chance to crit, but you're limited on one weapon in whole playthrough. One type of weapon, let's say great sword. You'll only use great swords till the end of the game if you go with devoted. You can go with one-handed weapon or with a two-handed weapon. It's your choice. I would recommend two-handed weapon. One-handed is not bad also. Multi-classing for devoted. Best classes if you want to go with multi-class are Rogue, Barbarian, and Enchanter. If you go with Rogue, you'll gain more damage. Fighter Rogue combination. If you go with Fighter Barbarian combination, you'll get more damage and a lot of crits. If you go with Chanter, you'll get damage and crowd control. Unbroken. Unbroken, as the name says, is a tank. And maybe the best way to go with Unbroken is with Aumua. But we're on human now, it doesn't matter. Unbroken, as a tank, uses weapon and shield. One-handed weapon and a shield. Multi-classes for Unbroken are Paladin, Monk, Barbarian, and Rogue. If you go with a Paladin, you have skills for your shield and for resistances. Overall, you're a complete tank if you go Unbroken fighter with a Paladin mix. If you go with a Monk, you'll gain wounds. When you get hurt, you can cast spells, deal more damage, and so on. When you go with Barbarian, you have a passive. When you're flanked, you deal more crits and more damage. You need to have two opponents in front of you and one behind you to get flanked and deal tremendous amount of damage, tons of damage. And if you go Unbroken fighter with a Rogue, you get a very good passive skill in riposte, or better to say, you can riposte a hit. When an enemy tries to hit you, you retaliate and hit them back, which means you can hit twice in one action, you know? So, what would I recommend for new players? I would recommend no subclass, devoted, or unbroken, but not at all black jacket. Let's say we go with no subclass. Have in mind you can always go with this too. Wanna go with tank? Unbroken. Wanna go with one weapon only throughout the whole playthrough? Devoted. We go with no subclass. Next, knockdown, discipline barrage. Both are very important. I would take knockdown for the first spell. Why? Because you can knock your opponents, make them prone, and they'll stay prone for a very long time, so you can hit them freely. Next. Plus it acts as interrupt too. Yeah. Now attributes. Attributes for a fighter, very simple. Resolve is very important on all classes. I would spend maybe 15 points into it. Might to hit harder, constitution to have more health, and now comes the part. If you pick no subclass, then might is the way to go. If you pick devoted, one weapon, so one weapon only throughout the whole playthrough, resolve and might. If you picked unbroken, constitution is the way to go, because you're a tank. Yeah. Next. We pick culture. We know what we need. We need resolve, constitution, or might. In this case, we can go, let's say, with might. Now, background for a fighter. Absolutely everything is good, to be honest. They, as I said, are very user-friendly, but the best way to go is with Laborer or with a Mercenary, Streetwise, Athletics, and Intimidate. I would go with a Mercenary for a fighter. Weapon Proficiency, again, it depends if it's no subclass, if it's unbroken, or devoted. If it's devoted, we said it's one weapon. Yeah, Proficiency. So you will probably go for S-Stock or for a greatsword, you know, if you want a two-handed weapon. If you want a one-handed weapon, you will probably go for a Warhammer. That's with a devoted fighter. If you go with unbroken fighter, you go shield and let's say spear, or shield and mace, or shield and battle axe. Battle axe can crit a lot. If you go with no subclass, you just find your favorite weapon here. What I would do for the start, I would probably take something classic for the beginners, like medium shield and classical sword. These two. There is no mistake if you take these two, you know. But since we got no subclass, let's go with S-Stock or with Greatsword, or with both, even better. Let's go with both. Next. This is not important. Now we go to level up. Now, our fighter, when you level him up, what you need? You need a lot of athletics. You can go also with explosives from time to time. Over here, you want intimidation in conversations, yeah? Either intimidation or survival. I would say put on a level. Put 1 point into intimidate, then 1 point into survival, and so on. Same goes here. A bit in athletics, a bit in explosives. And we go next. Here, constant recovery is what comes with fighter. They heal non-fucking stop. Yeah, we already picked knockdown. Now we're gonna pick discipline barrage because it's very important. It gains concentration and aware for the next 15 seconds. Or better to say, 50% of grazes a fighter will convert to hits, plus he gains +5 perception, or in other words, better chance to hit. Concentration 2. So, we got 1 point, put it here, to discipline barrage. Say next. We're gonna pass through few levels. Now we go explosives and survival. Next. And now here. We can go into the fray since we got 2 points. And over here, passive abilities are very important. And to be honest, now this is the part where devoted, unbroken, and no subclass are very important. If you go with devoted, it's one weapon. If you picked two-handed style, one weapon, you go with this. If you picked unbroken, shield, and weapon, you'll go weapon and shield style. Get it? If you pick no subclass, you can go with maybe confident aim. 30% of grazes converted to hits. Now imagine confident aim as a passive with discipline barrage that also turns grazes to hits. This is 50% of grazes converted to hits. Along with this one, 30% of grazes converted to hits. You get how much? 80% of grazes will be converted to hits. In other words, you hit non-fucking stop. Yeah? Let me explain it once more. I have it in my previous videos, but I always need to repeat that. I feel like it. You got 4 types of attacks: miss, graze, hit, and crit. Miss, no damage. Graze, very little damage. Hit, solid damage. Crit, a lot of damage. That's about it, in short. Now, since we got Confident Aim and Discipline Barrage, and this dragging here into the fray with crush damage, we say next. Next, we go Explosives now, and we go Intimidation next. This time, for example, if we are unbroken, we take this. Okay? If we are devoted, we take this. Okay? No subclass. Could easily take this. Fighter stances. Fighter stances are very important. What are fighter stances? Okay, weapon type. Let's say we pick one more two-handed weapon. It doesn't matter. I want to show you this because we're done here. Fighter stances. Fighter stances are this. We got cleaving stance. We hit multiple opponents at the same time. You can pick them freely. Doesn't cost anything. Just go with it. Cleaving stance, multiple opponents at a time. You hit many enemies at the same time. Warrior stance, you hit one enemy, but you hit him hard. Defensive stance, figure it out, yeah. More defense, more enemies attracted on you. That's the warrior stance. It's very important to switch this in a battle. When one enemy remains like a boss, you go with this. When you get hurt a lot, or better to say, when your companions get hurt a lot, you go with defender stance. When they are very, I don't know, like Xaurips, tank Xaurips, a lot of them, you know, but they fall easily, you go with cleaving stance, clear them all up. There is nothing else left to say about the fighter. As I said, very user friendly. I would highly recommend it for beginners, either fighter or paladin. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you on the next one.